Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shah, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shah, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shah, Call Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Raha Kadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutation to the hopeful elect scattered across the four winds. And double honors to the men that taught our elders and apostles. This is your brother Yakar Avin from Great Millstone, Houston, or the Houston Church, with another lesson. I was just thinking about the things that Esau Edom has done to you Hebrew Israelites, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, Esau is a proud man, and he's done all types of horrific things to the children of Israel. And he doesn't think that he will ever be punished for the things that he's done. I mean, look at what's going on in America or the United States today. They're taking down, the different monuments, I guess, showing what the so-called white man or the Edomite has done to you Israelites. And he thinks that he's gotten away with it. He thinks that, the Heavenly Father is with him because he hasn't been punished. We'll get that. He thinks that he's gotten away with, messing with the apple of the Heavenly Father's eye. He believes that, he's a conqueror, and he's he's the guy in charge. That he's just so great that he was able to put the Israelites into subjection, and that he was able to go across the whole world and set his order. The Here in the last days, we're calling out Esau Edom, as that man in Second Thessalonians, the man of sin, because he's gone all around the world, with his wickedness, with all of the different shit that he has done. Well, let's get there first. This is this is Psalms chapter 50 and verse 19. It says, "Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frame deceit." So, what do you see in the media? Every time you see somebody, a welfare queen, or, a murderer or a thug, Esau Edom puts you Israelites in the forefront. He sets you up as lazy, shiftless, good for nothing, always looking for a handout, but yet he's the guy that's always done it. He's the guy that's always been the one getting the free handouts. He's the one that instituted these different programs in the United States government for welfare, where you Jakes, Jake being Jacob, Jacob's name was changed from Jacob to Israel, or Yashar Allah, meaning he is a prince of the power. So Esau has always set up these different programs for his people, and yet you Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, you weren't part of that. He wanted to essentially erase you. Once you were no longer in hardcore slavery, he didn't have any more use for you. So he's been trying to kill you off, by studying you, looking at you, marching you across the country to get rid of you. A genocide on the people. But it says, this is Psalms 50 and 20. It says, "Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, thou slanderest thine own mother's son. And we understand that paradigm, or this goes back to Jacob and Esau. Esau, he sold his blessing, but it was ordained from the Heavenly Father that he wasn't going to get the blessing, that Jacob was going to get it. So it says, "Thou slanderest thy own mother's son," meaning that Esau is always slandering Jacob. He's always lying on Jacob and setting Jacob up for failure. This is Psalms 50 and 21. It says, thou these things hast thou done, and I kept silence. The Heavenly Father hasn't, because Esau, coming back in that spirit of Cain, is a fugitive. He's a fugitive on the run from justice, and the Heavenly Father is going to pay him back. The Heavenly Father is going to pay him back by all means. You Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and you Israelites that are scattered across the four winds, Esau Edom is he's going to get his due. He's going to get what they say, his comeuppance. He's gone around the world putting all the heathen into subjection, but mostly you Israelites. So he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid back for all the things that he has done. And this America, it's going to be done away with. Simple and plain. It says, these things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. Okay, so yeah, the so-called white man has gone around the world, depicting himself as the Lord's people, lying, stealing, raping. He's came into every land, and he's done all manner of wickedness and to take over. And once he takes over, then he has set himself up as being the moral judge. He set himself as being the upright man to tell people how they ought to act. But yet his track record has shown that he's a beast man, the vilest of the earth. But he hasn't done these things. The Lord set him up. The Lord set him up to do these things. Let me get that. The Lord set his ass up, and he's in a trick bag. But this is directly these scriptures. This particularly is set up for him. This is talking about Esau Edom. This is Psalms chapter 75 and verse 4. It says, I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up the horn, meaning lift not up your power, like you this great thing. Esau has gone all around the world, and now, just like he basically split up Africa, he went to all the lands. He's a colonizer. He goes everywhere, all around the world, claiming things that are not his, right? So the Most High is really mocking him because he set him up to do these things. It says, I said unto the fools, Esau Edom being the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up thine horn. Lift not up thine horn on high, speak not with a stiff neck. And if if you pay attention in anything, you understand that the Edomites, they have stiff necks as well. You Israelites, you have stiff necks in being disobedient, but these Edomites, they're proud. They're proud, and they believe that everything on the earth is theirs, that they're the Lord's people, and they were set up to rule. And, in a sense, they were set up to rule for a short time, for a very short time. and to rule in wickedness, which, if you look around the world, you can understand that everything that the so-called white man touches turns to shit. He's got that reverse Midas touch. The Midas touch, everything I touch turns to gold. Guess what? Everything Esau Edom touches turns to shit. Everything.